Welcome to Tutorial 1B, Sorting Files Based on File Name. In this tutorial, we're going to sort files based on their file name. In this particular case, we have two files, Part 1 and Part 2. In a use case, you could imagine that Part 1 would be like a business card, and Part 2 may be something like a postcard. So we want to route all Part 1 files one direction in our workflow, and all Part 2 files another direction in our workflow. And that's what we're going to do in this particular tutorial. To start, we're going to select our flow produced in Tutorial 1, and we're going to duplicate that flow and rename it to Flow 1B. Now we can modify this flow without affecting the first flow that we created. By selecting our PDF connector from the last tutorial, we're going to change it to define a file pattern. In this case, star part 1 star. This will tell Switch to take files with the text string part 1 in them and sort them down that particular connection. To demonstrate, now we'll take our two sample files and we'll place them into our Flows hot folder so that they can be processed by Switch. As you will see, Switch will recognize these files, process them, and sort them out so that Part 1 goes to the PDF folder as defined in our new connection change, and Part 2 will go down to all other files. It's now successfully sorting the two files based on the file name. This concludes Tutorial 1B. Now on to Tutorial 1C, sorting on a file condition. In this tutorial, we're going to use internal metadata found within each file to meet certain parameters in order to sort it correctly. As you will see in this tutorial, what we'll be using in this particular case is the page trim box height and the trim box width in order to determine if a file is a business card or not a business card in order to sort the files correctly. To start, we're going to duplicate Tutorial 1B and rename it Tutorial 1C as shown here. Next, we're going to need to take and hold a sample file in the Sort for PDF folder. We'll do this just before the connection we want to modify so that we can access the metadata within that sample file. It's important that the sample file be very representative of the type of files that you want to sort for. To start, we'll select our connection, we'll right-click or option-click on it on the Mac, and place it on hold. This way, no files will pass down either one of those paths. We'll activate our flow, and then we'll take our sample file and enter it into the flow. After it's processed, we'll see it move into the Sort for PDF folder, then we'll be able to stop this flow and modify our connection. As you can see here, our sample file is now available and we can access the metadata found in that sample file. We'll go through and find the actual fields that we want to use within our sample file and add them to our conditions list, as shown here. Once it's added to our conditions, we can put in the variable that we want to adjust for. And as you can see, we can add an and or statement and add additional conditions to build our condition variable. Now, as we'll see, files going through this connection must have a trim box height of 144 and a trim box width of 252 in order to be sorted down this connection. We'll remove the hold from both of these connections and then we'll remove our sample file so that we can now activate the flow. Now with the flow activated, we'll go ahead and add our 2 sample files into our hot folder for this particular flow. As you will see, Switch will read into the metadata of these files and then sort them correctly according to their bounding box size. And this completes our tutorial for sorting on file conditions. In the next tutorial, we'll take a look at how Switch can help you manage your job folders by allowing you to ungroup them and then regroup them later in your workflow.